I'm Ed Adams, and you're listening to the AAFCA Podcast. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the AAFCA Podcast. And today, we're diving into all the Black brilliance in films from 2018. I'll explain more after the break. The AAFCA Podcast is sponsored by Morgan Stanley Global Sports and Entertainment. "2018 was a banner year for Blacks in film. Not only did films featuring people of color take over opening week box offices throughout the year, but we saw an increase in people of color behind the camera and in production. From Marvel's blockbuster hit Black Panther to Barry Jenkins' If Beale Street Could Talk, the stories, songs, and visions of Black people led their respective studios to unprecedented numbers. I'll get more into the numbers in a bit. To put all this in perspective, I only had to look to the founding members of the African American Film Critics Association, Gil Robertson and Shawn Edwards. I had a conference call with them to dive into what 2018 meant for Blacks in entertainment and the impact it had on the industry. Shawn, Gil, welcome to the AAFCA Podcast.
Hey, what's up, my man? Good to be here.
Okay. So looking back at the movies of 2018 that were produced this year, unlike other years where we have a lot of autobiographical or biographical stories like Get On Up or 42, we had more movies talking about the Black experience. Let's talk about some of the movies that you thought that captured the Black experience this year.
Well, it was a good year. I mean, 2018, it wasn't just that it was like a realistic portrayal of the Black experience, but you had fantasy because Black Panther is a comic book movie. You had back in the day stories based on real life events like Black Klansmen. You had movies based off of James Baldwin novels. You had a lot of movies that dealt with the current day problem with the police. So it was spread across the board. So I mean, diversity was definitely plentiful in 2018 in terms of the Black experience because it just wasn't just stuck in one particular type of groove.
Yeah, in terms of the storylines that, were present in cinema, it really did dive deep into the lives of Black people. To Shawn's point, everything from, the fantastical elements of Black Panther to, issues revolving around the criminal justice system, as seen through, The Hate You Give and If Beale Street Can Talk. And what was Gods and Monsters, Blind Spotting, Widows. I mean, it was a plethora of movies that dealt with like police brutality and the criminal justice system, but all done differently.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it was a good year. It was a good year. It was a year when, there was a lot in the pot and there was a lot for us to choose from, and a lot for audiences to choose from, when going to the movies.
And these movies made a lot of money too. I mean, we're talking about an estimated like over $1.5 billion from these particular movies about the Black experience. But speaking about that,
well, hold on. That's
we want to correct that. That's not really the case. People need to be very, very careful what they read online. Black Panther alone made 1.3 billion.
Right.
So
right.
Let's start there.
I'm not necessarily jumping up and down with joy about the success of a lot of the movies this year, because if you look at titles like The Hate You Give and Widows and Blind Spotting, they way underperform in comparison to how good those movies really are. So, I mean, we still have a long way to go before we start celebrating an overall success at the box office. Now, Black Panther blew the doors off the hinges in terms of box office. But then there's some flaws there too, because as well as it did domestically, it still didn't do as well comparatively like overseas, internationally. So there's still a lot of work to be done at the box office in terms of black film, because a lot of these movies should have performed a lot better.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, it's very, very, very important for folks to consider the source of where they get their news. And I know that story actually performed real well for us on our social media, but it's somewhat misleading. And so, you're talking about one film that, did very well in terms of its box office return, and then you're talking about a lot of others, to Shawn's point, that were disappointing or that sort of broke even.
Or they struggled, or they were actually, if you do the demographic breakdown, there were films about the black experience that blacks did not go and see. Black Klansmen did very well at the box office, but if you do a demographic breakdown, the majority of the money that Black Klansmen made was from white viewers. So I mean, there's still like this funny sort of what we decide to embrace in our community and what we decide to shun when it comes to movies and film. So I mean, this celebratory thing, I mean, it makes
blind spotting and hate you give. I mean, none of those. I mean, those movies failed to perform. So right. I mean, it's still we're still trying to figure out.
Widows underperform.
How do you get black people into seats? How do you get them to invest in the telling of their own stories? It's still the dilemma, that Hollywood has to kind of figure out.
I mean, that's been a catch-22 for quite some time, right? I mean, it's like we've had this conversation before. It's like, people are asking for more movies about us, and then we don't go see them. And then Hollywood's like, well, we gave them to you. And you're like, no, we don't want that story. We want this story. And then you produce that story, and then they still don't come. It's always been this kind of strange catch-22 loop when it comes to minorities and theaters, right?
Well, the bottom line is people need to understand that this is very much a business, and that no one is going to throw good money after bad. So either you go and support these films, or they just simply won't be made. Bottom line.
Which is sad, because a lot of these titles that we mentioned are very, very good films, exceptional films, produced by, a talented group of directors and producers, some of which are vets, some of which are newcomers. I mean, it ran the gamut this year, which made 2018 so exciting, because you had new people on the scene like Boots Riley, who delivered Sorry to Bother You, which was totally inventive, completely original, maybe too creative for some, but bold and daring nonetheless. And then you had seasoned vets like Steve McQueen and Barry Jenkins. It did. Sorry to Bother You did make money because it came in at such a smaller budget. Like Sorry to Bother You and Black Klansmen made money because the budgets were smaller and they actually performed very well. But like I mentioned earlier, if you do the demographic breakdown, they weren't wholly supported by the black community. They got a lot of love outside the community, which is good, and I'm not knocking that. But they could have been much bigger hits if the black community would have embraced Sorry to Bother You and Black Klansmen a little stronger.
But then you also have the other factor, right, about distribution.
That doesn't really go. I mean, to your point, Ed, you're dealing with a community that's very much in flux and that really doesn't know what it wants. That's, to my earlier point, where are we getting the news? Where are we getting the information? How do we know when movies are coming out? Where to go to see them? How to support them? And so there needs to be some type of organized effort to be able to disseminate information properly to the community, which is one reason why we started this podcast, which is a way to inform people within our community and other communities about things that are happening within the entertainment space.
Absolutely. And then to go back to something that you were saying, it made me think about a movie that, a lot of people didn't even know happened, which was Support the Girls, because it had such a low distribution number, right? I mean, it's a really good film, but yet it wasn't in a lot of theaters. People didn't even know about it. It didn't have a big marketing budget. And then it was kind of gone, and it came and gone, and nobody really knew much about it until the buzz started coming out about it.
Well, that's true. But like I said, there's going to be some. I mean, but that's the business model. I mean, there was nothing you can do about that. It was a smaller movie with a smaller budget. They didn't have a lot of money for marketing and advertising. I mean, that's just some films are going to fall victim to that, and you really can't blame the consumer on that because the average person's busy living their lives and working a job and raising kids and going about their daily lives. So, I mean, they're not like film buffs who scour through tons of information to find unique and different titles to go and explore and see. So some films are going to fall, under the radar. That's a film that fell under the radar despite the fact that Regina Hall delivered an amazing performance. And it got a blip of a buzz when she got a couple of film critics groups wins as Best Actress. But it's definitely going to be a title that I think more people will catch up on. It's currently streaming now on Hulu. And that's the beautiful thing about streaming and all these new platforms is you can catch up to titles a lot easier than you could 5, 10, 15 years ago. But some films, just by nature of the business, are going to fall under the radar, and it's no fault of their own or no fault of anyone else's. That's just the way that the business model is structured.
Okay. And briefly, I wanted to kind of get your take on the fact that this year we had 2 sequels, Creed 2 and The Equalizer 2, both, directed by Black directors. And I just kind of want to get your take on what you thought of it, about the fact that we now have sequels in the works.
I think it's a beautiful thing. I mean, long time coming. It was Denzel's first ever sequel. I mean, Denzel's a household name. He's proven at the box office. He releases a movie, it's good from anywhere to $75 to $100 million. He's that man. He's proven he has a track record. I mean, Creed 2 worked because Creed 2 was based off of Creed, which was very popular. It was a strong movie. It's part of the Rocky franchise, which is a huge household name. Likable cast. You got Michael B. Jordan, who's solid. Sylvester Stallone. And it's just a winning movie formula. It's a sports movie, boxing movie. You kind of know what you're walking into, and believe it or not, people really like that. People like to see movies that they're comfortable with. They like predictability. They like comfort, and that's what Creed and Creed 2 provided. So naturally, it was going to be a knockout at the box office.
That was AAFCA co-founders Gil Robertson and Shawn Edwards. Now, earlier in the interview, you may have heard a bit of a kerfluffle about box office number reporting. So let me clear that up for you. The article I referenced was a CNBC story that ran on January the 4th of this year that went viral, that says that a record number of Black directors among 2018's top films earning $1.6 billion at the box office. Well, this is kinda true, but as Gil and Shawn suggest, it's a bit misleading. The number the article actually references is a domestic box office number, which, and yes, I crunched my own numbers, totaled $1.62 billion in ticket sales. But the reality is, these movies almost doubled that number with a whopping $2.85 billion in global box office sales, and that's something that should be mentioned as well. But moving on. So every year, AAFCA polls its members of the best performances and best pictures. The results are our top 10 films and the list of best actor, actresses, song, and other superlatives that make up the winners that we celebrate at our signature annual event, the AAFCA Awards. Here is Shawn and Gil again to talk about the organization's winners. Good. All right. So we're going to go into our next segment, which is about the AAFCA Awards. Now, our award list came out in December on the 11th, and I wanted to kind of go through some of our top picks. Our top film, best film was Black Panther. We've already discussed that. Best director is Ryan Coogler, but best screenplay, Black Klansman.
Man, it's just I love this. I love the story. I love the way it was written. Black Klansman kind of worked in 3 different ways. It's based on a real-life event that happened about a Black undercover police officer in Colorado Springs that infiltrated the Ku Klux Klan, which on paper is like, wow, that's pretty fascinating. But I love the political overtones because it was sort of like a direct correlation of what's going on right now with the current Trump administration in the White House. And the way that it was done and the way that the movie was structured and the satirical tone and the elements of comic relief, but also the tension and the believability and the way that it was written and structured was beautiful. It was co-written by Spike Lee and Kevin Wilmot, based off of a novel that was based off the true life story of the detective who went undercover. It was just a brilliant job of writing, because this is the type of film that could have easily beat you over the head or gone in the wrong direction. So the balance was delicately done in order to pull it off. And it was just a job well done. A great example of really, really sharp, witty, but focused writing.
And to go through the list again, so we have Best Supporting Actor, Russell Hornsby for The Hate You Give, Best Supporting Actress, Regina King for If Beale Street Could Talk, Best Breakout Performance for Amandla Stenberg for The Hate You Give, and then the surprise, I was so happy to see this, which is Best Animated Feature, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Let's talk about that for a second.
Well, it was a total, you would sort of reintroduce these iconic character, and it was done, in a very clever way. It introduced a lot of technology that previously hadn't been used in this format. And so, it had a strong storyline. It had all of the right elements to really make it work, overall as a project. And we felt that it deserved notice. You might want to add that, I guess I should add, that Peter Ramsey, who is African-American, worked as a director on the project, and he also has history, having been a previous recipient of our very first Synergy Awards, which is an award that we give out annually during the summer. And Ramsey won that, almost a decade ago at an event that we did in Los Angeles. So overall, great film. People should definitely check it out. You are introduced to the first Afro-Latino Spider-Man, which is A+. We see just a lot of, creativity that you necessarily don't normally see in animated films. And so, great job, and we look forward to celebrating them at our show on February 6th in Los Angeles.
Awesome.
Yeah, the movie really worked on a lot of levels, but I think the fact that it was a celebration of diversity without making a point of diversity, because it represented blacks, Hispanics, whites, Asians, and then the tone of the movie was perfect, because it's actually the first comic book movie that works as both a comic book, but also succeeds as a movie, which a lot of comic book movies fail at doing. So that combination of the two just sort of really made that film really stand out. And the fact that the animation was super stylish, and then the voice work on this thing was totally believable. A lot of people really underappreciate that element of animated features, but the voice work and the casting on this film was spot on, which made a lot of the elements in the overall film work. So, I actually had it as my number one choice out of all the movies in 2018. And I actually thought it worked better as a comic book movie than even Black Panther. But it's just a fantastic film.
So going back to the list, we have Roma as Best Foreign Film, and the Best Documentary is Quincy.
Oh, what can be said about a documentary about one of the most iconic figures in entertainment? And so I personally thought that it was very well done. It was one of those films that I thought struck a great balance in, providing you with information about who Mr. Jones is, where he's from, what his motivations and inspirations were to do and become who he has become. And it was also entertaining at the same time. So it sort of, brought those two important things together. And, we're enormously proud that Mr. Jones is coming to the AAFCA Awards on February 6th, to accept the honor. He's also the recipient of our Stanley Kramer Award, which is given out annually by the association.
So our best song was All the Stars from SZA and Kendrick Lamar from Black Panther. And then something that I was surprised, but Best New Media, Red Table Talk. Let's talk about why this won.
Well, Red Table Talk Red Table Talk, I think, represents the future. People have been trying to figure out how to really do short form content right. And I think that with Red Table Talk, Jada Pinkett gets it right in a way that is fun, that is informative, that's entertaining. And I think that Facebook is the perfect partner to introduce a show like that and make it work.
Yeah, I mean, well, first off, the concept struck a nerve. And anytime you can do that and all the clutter that's on all the social media platforms, I mean, you're doing something because it's a vast world of content. And anytime you create something that sticks out the way that the Red Table Talks did, it's fantastic. And the fact that she was able to sort of bring like this A-list element to where these celebrities that she had as guests would just naturally open up with her in this format is a wonderful thing to see. But just the fact that she created some content that just sticks out amongst all the clutter is not an easy thing to do, and it was well executed. It was interesting. I mean, you couldn't wait for the next one. And it's definitely the future of media. This is the road we're going down, and we're driving down that road at 99 miles per hour. And Jada Pinkett's in the driver's seat with her foot on the accelerator, taking us down new pathways.
Yeah, Jada's the perfect host for this. I mean, I've known Jada for over 20 years, and it really allows a side of her personality to show that I think is particularly attractive. And so, again, to Shawn's point, I mean, she's able to mix her own straight-in-your-face kind of dialogue, that part of her personality with, an influx of A-list celebrities, that creates a winning formula.
All right.
And it was also nice to see Black content actually thrive, because that space has been dominated by non-Black content. So it was great to see that, because that's the door that hasn't really fully opened yet in that world. Black content still struggles on these social media platforms. So it was good to see that breakthrough, and hopefully this leads to more Black content in the future that actually has a big spotlight put on it, like Red Table Talk.
I don't know if I necessarily agree that it's Black content, because, I mean, the subjects that are introduced that are on that show are universal.
The conversations are universal, but
she's a Black lens.
Yeah, but she's the first Black talent.
Mother and daughter are all Black.
No, I get that. No, I get that the topics are definitely universal, but as a talent, she's Black. There's not a lot of Black talent in the viral space that succeeded the way she has with Red Table Talk. If you look at the Forbes list of the top 50 YouTubers, they're all white. If you go to any measurement of the top matrix of who used to dominate the Vine space, who's dominating the Snapchat space, who's dominating the Instagram space, it's generally 99.9% white. So that's the reference I'm making. In terms of Black talent, it was good to see Jada sort of break through that glass ceiling that's been dominated by the mainstream.
And another cool thing, finally, I mean, I think, or additionally, the cool thing about Red Table Talk is the fact that it's multi-generational. You get the millennial, you get the pre-millennial voice, through her daughter. You get that teenage vibe. You get Jada's, voice as a woman, and you also get to hear, a more senior perspective, from Jada's mom. So it's great to have, an opportunity, a space where all three of those perspectives can live and be heard.
Okay. And now to kind of wrap up our list of our superlatives here, we got Queen Sugar for Best Drama, and we have Insecure as Best TV Comedy. Both wrapped up their third seasons and were new for a fourth season, which starts actually this year.
I mean, we really are living in a golden age with regards to television, and Queen Sugar and Insecure certainly represent, I think, some of the best TV that's out there. I feel like those shows deliver authentic representations of Black identity and Black experiences, told in a very funny and entertaining way. So we're absolutely thrilled. I mean, this is the third time that
Queen Sugar has received our Best TV Drama, and it's simply because it really is a series that dives deep into Blackness, into the Black American identity, and it's done so in a very real, balanced, authentic way, but still, is entertaining. So we're thrilled that that we've recognized it again. And obviously with Insecure, I mean, Issa just continues to hit the ball out of the park with, her stories about what it's like to be young, Black, female, and single, in the big city. And I mean, she does a great job. It's a great support cast. And, again, we're glad that it made our list this year.
Now, I got to be honest with you, Ed. I didn't vote for either one of those. Best comedy series on TV is Atlanta. Best drama is The Chi. Just to let you know, it's not all one-sided in AAFCA. I didn't vote for any of those. Atlanta and The Chi were my votes. I thought Atlanta was the most brilliant show on TV, in my opinion. The Donald Glover produced show.
It's about what made the list.
I know. But it's a podcast. No, I know. I'm just saying it's what I voted for. I prefaced that.
Oh, okay.
I voted for Atlanta and The Chi. There wasn't there's not a better TV show on TV than Atlanta, and The Chi, in my opinion, was the best drama.
This is democracy in action.
I mean, I would disagree only because I think with Atlanta, the story. I mean, Atlanta is certainly a great show, and I think it's good to see a show that's built around Black male identities. However, you get that and more with Queen Sugar. You get the 360 experience of what being Black in this country is all about. But that's the great thing about the organization, is that it's a group of 50 plus critics who come together and who we discuss these things through, and we ultimately, run with makes sense. Run with what, whatever turns up in the final balloting. But certainly that's not to say that shows that weren't necessarily our number one pick don't have merit as well. It's just that this year they didn't make the list, but who knows what may happen next year.
Absolutely. And before time runs out, I'd like for you guys to talk to me about the upcoming AAFCA Awards. What can we expect?
Well, this is our 10th anniversary, so we're really, really excited. The show's come a long way. We'll have special achievement awards given out to Quincy Jones again, and also to Jason Blum from Blumhouse, who will receive our Cinema Vanguard Award. We're expecting the cast of Black Panther as well as John David Washington will be in attendance, and also cast members from If Bill Street Can Talk, along with its director, Barry Jenkins. And so, it's a thrill. It's something that we spend a lot of time on, and it's something that gets better and better and better each and every year. So we think it's going to be a kickoff for a great year for the organization. We're going to be doing a year 2 of our Turner Classic Film series that takes a look at the Black experience in cinema. So we're looking forward to doing that. That's going to air once again in September. And we have a lot of other projects that are in the pipeline, such as our Women in Cinema series that will be running in March in Los Angeles and Atlanta, and also Black Excellence, celebrating Black Excellence, which will be taking place in LA during the month of February, and a few other things. The AAFCA will be partnering with Better Brothers to present a look at LGBT identities in October. So, as always, the organization is filled with surprises, and we're going to continue with our student boot camps across the country, as well as our signature Atlanta event, Synergy, during the late summer. Yeah, it's a lot going on. The summer screening series will be back, where we highlight anniversary titles, in June, July, and August, and we'll be expanding into New York and Chicago and maybe a Midwestern city that goes unnamed, Kansas City, perhaps. Mr. Edwards has time. Is not on a plane all summer, flying around the world. So yeah, the organization is busy. We're healthy, and we're going to be on TV next year. So definitely look forward to getting that announcement.
Oh, wow. That's good news. Good news. Good news. Well, thank you so much, you two, for being a part of this conversation. I'm excited for the AAFCA Awards, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the big schedule for
Follow
everything.
us socially on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
All right.
No, that's it.
Okay. Well, Shawn, Gil, thank you so much, and we'll see you at the AAFCA Awards.
No, thank you. Thank you. Yes, 10
Thank
years,
you,
10th anniversary. Thank you very much, Ed.
Again, that was AAFCA co-founders Gil Robertson and Shawn Edwards. The 10th annual AAFCA Awards will be held on February the 6th at the Taglian Complex in Los Angeles. You can find the complete list of winners and information about the Special Achievement honorees by visiting the website at AAFCA.com. Oh yeah, and one thing I want to emphasize that makes the AAFCA list so unique is that each year we feature best television in comedy and drama and also best web series, which you heard a little bit of the conversations with Shawn and Gil. And that's our show. Thanks to our guests, Gil Robertson and Shawn Edwards, for participating in this episode. And I encourage you to stay up to date on all things AAFCA by following us on Facebook. You can tweet us at the AAFCA and Instagram us as well. So until next time, keep your head up.